All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're jumping into a really fascinating theory that completely flips the script on the tarot. Forget fortune telling. What if the deck was actually a map for understanding pretty much any complex system you can think of? So get this. The source material describes the 78-card tarot deck as a cosmic taco stuffed with every flavor of existence. I love that. The idea is it's not just a random collection of symbols. It's a perfect, self-contained system where every single piece is connected to every other piece. Just like the Ouroboros, that serpent eating its own tail. And that leads us to the big question behind the Ouroboros tarot theory. What if you could use this deck to map the actual engine of reality? It's all about taking this grand metaphysical model and merging it with the tarot deck we all know to create a seriously powerful analytical tool. So, yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so here's where it all begins. The theory starts by building this amazing bridge between four universal forces, the kind of forces that are said to govern reality itself, and the four suits of the minor arcana. These become our pillars of understanding. First up, we've got the force of paradox. Just think of this as creative tension, right? That disruptive spark that stops things from getting stale. It's that friction that jolts a system forward. And, of course, it maps perfectly onto the wand suit, representing all that raw, fiery, transformative energy. Next up is unity, and this is basically the cosmic glue that holds everything together. It's the force of cohesion. And where does it find its home in the tarot? Well, in the cup suit, of course. That's the suit that governs our emotions, our relationships, our deep sense of connection to everything. Then you have the pillar of symmetry. This is all about the hidden order of things, the stable patterns, the rules, the blueprints running in the background. And that aligns perfectly with the swords. The suit of intellect, logic, and sharp analysis that just cuts through the noise to find the underlying structure. And finally, bringing it all down to earth, we have the grounding force of balance. This force is always seeking equilibrium, and it is perfectly reflected in the pentacles. This is the suit of the tangible, material world, where all that fiery energy from the wands and the deep connection of the cups and the sharp structure of the swords actually come together to create something real. So, now that we have those four pillars as our foundation, this is where things get really, really cool. The theory takes the classic fool's journey from the major arcana and transforms it from just a story into this powerful 9-level analytical tool called the fractal pyramid. And this journey, it's not a straight line from A to B. No way. It's a spiral. It's designed to take us from the very foundation of a problem, right through its chaotic, messy engine, and all the way up to this transcendent, big picture insight at the very top. It all kicks off at level 0. You've got the Fool, which basically represents your entire problem, the whole system. And the very first thing that happens is that the system splits it into two fundamental parts: what you know and what you can control, that's the magician, and all the hidden, intuitive stuff you can't see yet, which is embodied by the high priestess. Now, this table is kind of like our cheat sheet for the whole journey. You can see how cards like the Chariot and Strength pop up at level 5, Adaptive Dynamics. These are the tools the system uses to steer through the chaos. And then you get to the really tough cards, right? Like the Tower at level 7, representing nested complexity. This is that critical point where a system has to break down to reveal a deeper truth. And it all builds up to level 9 with the World, where all that complexity collapses into one single clear truth. So we've got the big picture, but what about all the day-to-day stuff? How does the minor arcana fit in? Well, this is where the theory gets super practical, reframing these cards as the gears and levers, the moving parts that make any system actually work. The numbered cards from Ace to 10 basically give you a timeline. It's a predictable life cycle. This lets you pinpoint exactly where any situation is on its journey, from that initial spark of an idea in the Ace, through the inevitable conflict and turning point around the 5, all the way to its final outcome in the 10. Now, the court cards get a makeover too. They become these system archetypes. First up is the Page. The Page represents a relational part. Think of them as the student or the messenger, a part that's defined purely by how it interacts with and learns from the system it's in. Then you've got the Knight. This is the adaptive part. This is the driver, the doer. The Knight is all about action, always in motion, reacting to what the system needs and pushing things forward to keep up the momentum. The Queen is different. She acts as the systemic part. She's the internal structure, that quiet, stable scaffolding that lets the whole system actually function. She's the one who maintains that internal balance and makes sure everything holds together. And finally, there's the king. He embodies the autonomous part. This is a unit that has reached total mastery. It operates with its own independent, directing power over its little corner of the world. So you've got the learner, the doer, the maintainer, and the master. Okay, so we've got all these incredible concepts, pillars, pyramids, archetypes. But how do you actually use all this? Well, this theory isn't just philosophy. It's a practical engine with a clear, four-step methodology. It's a loop. You start by defining your problem as a whole system, step 1. Then, step 2, you use that major arcana pyramid to map out the core dynamics. Step 3, you zoom in with the minor arcana to analyze all the moving parts. And then, and this is the most important part, you act, you get feedback, and you start the process all over again. And this case study just brings it all to life. So an artist was dealing with a creative block. They used this framework, and the cards revealed something amazing. The cause wasn't a personal failing, it was a systemic problem. Their rigid adherence to tradition, represented by the Hierophant, was directly causing this stagnant, no-end conflict of the Five of Swords. And this is really the whole point. The deck becomes your thinking partner. It's like AI amplification for your own intuition. You provide the spark, that gut feeling, and the system gives you a clear, structured map of the problem's hidden dynamics. It lets you see things in a completely new light. And that brings us right back where we started, doesn't it? Full circle, back to the Ouroboros. It's all about that eternal, unending spiral of discovery, transformation, and putting it all back together again. And maybe that's the real takeaway here. What if the goal of using a system like this isn't to find the final answer? The theory suggests that every answer you find is really just unlocking the door to a deeper, more profound, and way more interesting question. It's a continuous loop of learning. And that's what we want to leave you with. It's a call to action, an invitation to just embrace that endless rhythm of learning. Take an insight, use it to fuel the next cycle of discovery, and then chomp the tail, ignite the next spiral, and let that rhythm carry you forward.